Let's move now to KwaZulu-Natal. The SANDF is providing humanitarian and disaster relief assistance for communities affected by the devastating April floods. 3,714 soldiers have been tasked with supporting the police search and rescue missions, assisting communities with water purification, rebuilding roads, bridges and damaged public infrastructure. The SANDF also delivering food parcels today. The eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is on the story and he joins us now. So Dasen, I wonder if you could just explain, because there's a lot of help still flowing into KwaZulu-Natal and we know that the SANDF has been involved fairly early on. Talk to us about their humanitarian efforts.
Well, this is a new element in that it comes directly from the soldiers themselves. Most of the items that we saw being distributed today, that comes from the soldiers as an initiative of their own. But they also have partnered with Arms Corps as well as the Spouses Forum of the SANDF. So that's the partners of some of the soldiers. And they got together and decided that there was still a need for this kind of help in KZN after the floods, because in the initial phases, there was a lot of support that had come through from various organizations. But one needs to remember that in many cases, these families have not yet received the housing that they needed. Some of them are still in community centers. And there are also those families who lost everything, lost many members of their families as well. And they are now in need of some of these items. So very basic things: water, sanitary pads, food, whatever they needed during this time. It's winter, so there are blankets as well in those packs that they received. But let's listen in to what the chief of the SANDF had to say about this particular initiative today.
Today we are pleased to announce that not only are our soldiers building these bridges that I have mentioned, electrifying temporary shelters, engaging in search and rescue efforts, purifying and distributing water to needy communities, but they've gone an extra mile in this climate of austerity to dip into their own pockets to provide local communities affected by these torrential rains and floods with food, blankets, and other much-needed goods. These items will go a long way into cushioning the blow from the overwhelming sense of socio-economic loss brought to bear by the recent floods, but are in no way enough to make the communities get by. We therefore call upon other good-meaning South Africans to give towards the humanitarian effort here in KwaZulu-Natal and other like afflicted neighborhoods and provinces.
Dasen, I want to speak to you about how people are doing. We saw yesterday at the City Hall in eThekwini, lots of very unhappy people actually vowed to camp out at the City Hall. They said they're just not being helped. You've also been speaking to people today. What are they telling you?
Sal, you'll remember that at the height of our coverage around floods and in the immediate days after the initial floods, we spoke to a few families that were quite central to the tragedy that had unfolded in KwaZulu-Natal. Those were the Mdlalose family members, the Gumbi family members, as well as the Ntuli family members, many of them having lost several members. Most recently, we heard that the Mdlalose family had recovered 9 of those bodies that they were looking for. There was just one person now, a 15-year-old, that they haven't yet located. So it's been a very difficult time for them in that sense, in that they've still been searching for their loved ones, still have hope. For example, like with the Gumbi family, they have 3 children that are missing, so they're still looking for them. But while they're doing that, they also still need to live. And as I mentioned, many of them don't have their homes and they don't even have the basic needs like food. So we had an opportunity to speak to the Gumbi family as well as the Mdlalose family. Let's listen into what they had to tell us about exactly how difficult these past 2 months have been.
Well, we haven't been managing very well because in the beginning of the second month, the search and rescue team came and they told us that they can't do anything because there's a lot of water underneath and the dogs can't do anything with that. What we need now is help from the government. So we haven't received any help from there on. We've been going ourselves trying to dig like we're doing nothing actually. But what I can see is that we actually need assistance from construction companies who can come with their trucks and try to remove the sand. We also need excavators, we also need TLBs to dig underneath.
We lost everything, even my IDs, my child birth certificate, everything is lost. If I'm going to Home Affairs, need to do things like this, they're just not getting any help to provide us. So I'm just waiting, and my child is getting 3 years old. From the birth until today, I can't even make his birth certificate because his birth certificate was wrong. So I went to rewrite it from last year until today.
Thank you very much for that update. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah in KwaZulu-Natal.